has to be that. And find out really what was going on with them. Because a lot of times, if they're in a threatening, coming at you situation like that kid that moved 9 times, he was so combative. And in the end, it's just because he's in there, in that tough guy person is a little boy in there who's scared to death. And that's how he reacts to fear, is to be a jerk, come at me like he's going to hit me, tell me that, call me every name in the book, call me F and B, call me blah, blah, blah. And I'm going to sit there and be like, doesn't faze me, dude. I don't care. You can call me whatever you want. If you're going to come at me and start acting like you're going to hit me, then I have to have you get kicked out. And I've had that a couple times. I've gotten in between fights before where I put my hand up and a kid punched my hand and he kind of looked at me like, what? Like he thought, like he was going to punch through my hand or something. I just did like this and I caught it. And he was like, yeah, dude, you're going. But, as I was in the middle of a fight one time where a kid pulled another kid's braids out of his head. So like his blood was flying everywhere and that was pretty gross. But that ended quickly. I didn't really feel threatened because I knew I wasn't the target. But in those cases your heart just breaks because you're like, why did it get this far? It shouldn't get this far. We should be able to talk about it before we get this mad. So sometimes as a teacher, now I'm kind of getting off the subject, sorry. You feel like, why didn't I pick that up first? Why didn't I hear that first? I needed to jump in there before it escalated to the point of physical violence kind of thing. I don't know, do you feel like, I think it's pretty chill. Why do you think that is?
That one group at the table I used to sit at, they like to talk about fights a lot. And I remember once last year, a girl told you she was going to slap you, and you're like, okay. Like, you didn't really believe her, but I was kind of looking at her like, what?
Have you ever had to comfort a student with problems at home? If so, how?
Oh, yeah, lots.
Yeah, you've already kind of touched base on that.
Yeah.
I had a student one time who was pregnant with her grandpa's baby.
What?
Yeah. And she told me that. And I didn't know whether to believe it or not, because it's kind of... Sometimes when kids are really in need of attention, they'll make up whatever story they can make up so that they can get it from you. I mean, obviously I reported it, and it was true that it was her grandpa's baby. And, I have stuff like that, Again, with that kind of a situation, do you really care about fractions? Do you care about a complete sentence? You're carrying your grandpa's baby. You need help. That is, and she was not an old kid. She was in 9th grade. Yeah. So, I've also had a student who was 11 who was pregnant. Things like that. Like, some stuff is going on at home that is not normal for anybody. So, yeah, I've had lots of kids talk to me about getting hit. I've had to make calls to DCFS. So, as long as I've been there, I feel like I haven't had to make as many calls as I would have thought. I've made 4 calls. One was for a girl who was pregnant, and she was in 7th grade, and she hadn't been to the doctor yet, and she was like 7 months pregnant. And I was like, that's no good. So what happened when I called DCFS, is that they came out and got her in touch, took her to the doctor, got that all rolling. So it wasn't like anybody got taken away from anybody. Another time, I had a student who told me that she left her baby home all night alone, and that he had fallen off the bed. She thought that he would be okay laying on the bed, and he had fallen off the bed and was face down when she ended up getting home, and he was less than 6 months old. So I called on her. And sometimes when people are parents, if they're coming in smelling like weed, I'm going to make that call, because make your own decisions on whatever you're going to do. A lot of students at our school smoke weed. It's a coping mechanism. I don't agree with it, but I know that it happens, because there's a lot of pain going on and they self-medicate. But if a student has a kid and they're they're coming in smelling real strong and hardly able to function. You know, that kind of a high is a little too much for taking care of a baby or small children. So I'll call for that. But lots of stuff goes on at home, and that's where, you know, I'm that white lady who doesn't know anything, but I'm from Lexington. But that's where I try to talk about, you know, I'm not just that white lady. I've had stuff that has happened to my kids. I've been around for a long time. Whatever you're going to say is not going to shock me. Because I've been around for 11 years. You're not the first one. You won't be the last. So I think that helps too. Did that answer your question?
Yeah.
Okay, good.
You keep saying something about DCFS. What is DCFS?
That's
It's-
the.
Oh, you can answer. Sorry.
Oh, that's okay. Tell me.
It's in a place where like they help kids in need, or like if something's wrong with a kid,
Like
like
something bad's going on.
like they're getting abused at home or something like that. They call DCFS and
Yeah.
they come and
Yeah, they investigate. Sometimes they
Yeah.
take the kids and put them in foster care. DCFS stands for Department of Children and Family Services. And as a teacher, I'm a mandated reporter. So like if Taylor were to tell me, Miss Selko, my dad's been beating me, please don't tell anybody, please don't tell anybody, what do I do? I'm going to tell Taylor, thank you for telling me, and I'm sorry I'm going to get your help, but you know that I'm a mandated reporter and I have to report this. And then it'll go from there, but I'll always be supportive and I'll always care. It's just that I have to do what I have to do. I can lose my license as a teacher if I don't.
And then our final question was, have you ever seen students in a classroom have problems with making friends? And if you have seen this, how has their absence of friends affected their
Can you
learning?
say it? I'm hard of hearing.
Um,
I turned my hearing aids up, but I couldn't hear you. I'm sorry.
Have you ever seen students in your classroom have problems making friends? And if you have seen this, how has their absence of friends affected their learning?
Well, I have seen that because, like, I'm going to use Taylor as an example. She didn't know anybody when she came in. And she really kept to herself, and I think that she was drawn a lot, and to me, I felt like she was in a pretty bad place. And I didn't know if meeting new people, especially knowing her personality, would have been a good thing for her right then. So I tried to be her friend a little bit, as much as I could, because obviously we're not in the same place in life. But I think with other students, once I feel that vibe, if I know that, let's say, Kiki's over here and she is pregnant with her first kid, and I have Akira over here who's got 2 kids. Kiki doesn't know Akira in real life, they do, but if she doesn't know her and she doesn't know her, but she's going through the same experiences that she is getting ready to go through, I'll introduce them, or I'll say something to the person that I already have a relationship with, and say, hey, could you talk to, I had actually a better example, I had a girl named Bibi, and she just had a baby, and I was like, hey, could you talk to Mika, because Mika was pregnant with a baby, and she was a freshman, and I said, and Bibi was Mexican American, and so was Mika, so I thought, if Bibi could talk to Mika, they have the same cultural background, and they were similar in age. They have similar economic background. All of these things were the same for them. So I wanted to introduce them, and eventually, I mean, obviously at first it's like, whatever, I don't know her, but then it becomes, hey, you're getting bigger. Hey, do you start feeling this? Have you had tamales when you're at 6 months? Don't do tamales. You're gonna get, heartburn, and it just becomes a thing. And then now they're friends, and I'm not saying that I am cool with the idea of everybody having babies. I'm just saying that it helped her, because Mika came in hating the world, hating me. She got kicked out because she had been drinking at school. Obviously, cry for help if you're getting drunk at school. And that was why she was there. She later got pregnant, but she shut down, had her head down, didn't like anybody, but eventually warmed up, and then they became friends. So that's what I do. Try to get the vibe of people.
I have another question. What are the goals at alternative school?
Goals for our kids?
Yeah.
Get their credits done. I mean, we have goals like academic goals, and then I have like behavior and relationship goals. I don't want a kid to walk out of my class, thinking that nobody cares about them, because I 100% do. Even the jerkiest jerk, I care about them, and they can be jerks forever to me, which they won't. But just love you to me. No, jerks to me. But I would say goals would be like to build a relationship like I have with Taylor. This isn't going to end in May. Oh, she knows that. But that's the cool part about it. I've got friendships, and I really do consider them friendships from years of teaching there. And I care about, you know, what's going on, what they're doing. If I see a student from a lot, you know, like 5 years ago, what are you doing? Nothing. Well, James, you're coming in, and I'm going to help you write your resume. We're getting you a job. That's not how it goes. You know, I would say it's a lot different than goals for like Hayworth. You know, you guys have academic goals that are very important. My academic goals kind of are completion. It's more of a social worker education role than an education social worker role. You know, that. Helping kids like Ari, that's what alternative does, I hope. And, you know, education comes along with it. But we want to make sure that we're not releasing broken people out into trying to be adults. You know, like I would have hated for Taylor to not get the help that she needed. I don't know if I really helped her with the help that she needed, but she's so much healthier now than she was when she came. And I don't know how much I had to do with it, but I feel like I tried to support her as much as I could and talk to her. And that's where you're helping not release a broken person. Because a broken person out in the world is just going to end up being dead or a druggie or a drunk, you know, and what good is that to the world when, especially for her, she does great art. I would hate for that to go away, you know, so that's kind of my goal.
Is there any last thoughts you'd like to share with us before we're ending? Oh, you have questions?
Yeah. Taylor, what was the best part and what was the worst part about moving from the Hayward school to the alternative school?
The best part would have to be the fact of I didn't know anyone there, and my worst problem with going to Hayward was I came here to socialize because I had friends here. So going to alternative where I didn't know anyone, it gave me more of a chance to actually work on my schoolwork and work on what I needed to do. And the worst part would probably be the fact that leaving my friends and like leaving the teachers that I've known pretty much all my life. Because I did like the fact that I knew the people that I was going to school with and stuff, and it made me more comfortable. But I needed to do work and not socialize.
Do you guys have any last thoughts or anything?
Don't do drugs. I know a lot of kids in your grade and 7th grade who have already been doing drugs and don't like it. And I recognize a lot of you. And like I know your older brother
Yes.
knows the person that I'm talking about. And it's not good.
And just don't even try it once. You know, that's what I've even seen in alternative is that you see kids who say, well, I just tried it once. Well, now you're jacked up, dude. There's no going back. You're going to have to deal with it like that kid that I talked about. A year it took him to stop taking pills. So, you know.
And Hayward is a really bad one. You guys may not see it as often now because you're younger, but especially once you get into high school, you'll see there are a lot of pain, like a lot of people pop pain pills, a lot of people take Xanax, and a lot of people smoke weed, especially going into high school here. And a lot of kids you don't think would be smoking weed or anything like that in high school are.
Alright, and then what is sociology?
Sociology is the study of like cultures and society. It's just really when you get a sociology degree, it leads to probably being a social worker, which would be somebody who works at DCFS. That would be a person that would go and visit houses and things like that. That was my first degree, so it was like Then I went into education, and then I kind of found a job that was both of them.
Where did you go to college?
At Illinois Wesleyan.
Alright, well, I think that's all we have.
Thank
You guys have anything else?
Thank you, Scrum.
Yeah, thanks for coming.